So going back to the footage, man, my mind is blurred on the timeline because I really don't remember the Nation not coming out to that music. I don't remember when it transitioned to rock, but all of the clips we're watching is just them coming out to the rock after they got rid of Farouk and Clarence Mason and that. So as I say that, before we get into the stuff of your feud, let's talk the original Nation, the militant group that Farouk originally put together. What do you think of that gimmick? Because it was intense.
It was intense. And look, I loved it because of that. I loved it because it was intense. And I do think that it represented some members of society. You know what I mean? I think obviously it was fine with me. Obviously somebody said we need a revamp here. And I think Rocky Maivia at the time was the guy for the job. You know what I mean? He was up and coming. He was young. He was hip. He was good looking. He just felt like he fit. And so could we just be cool rather than militant? And I think they were definitely a contrast for us because we were trying to be cool too. They were cool in a different way with, like you mentioned, suave and swagger. So they were cool too. We were bound to butt heads, and we're going to talk about what happened when we did.
Well, yeah, it's funny because both DX and the Nation, once DX was revamped in late March and early April, and them, you guys are both heel stables, but you're doing things a little bit different. Did you think there was space for both at the time, or was it obvious that one had to switch and become the babyface group?
Well, look, I don't know that it was obvious that one had to switch and become a babyface group, but I think it's always easier to give the viewer a person to cheer for and a person to boo. You know what I mean? An antagonist and a protagonist. So I think it was inevitable that one of us was going to get cheered and one of us was going to get booed. And in all actuality, I don't think we knew which it was going to be until we kind of got into it a little bit.
Which role were you hoping for? Do you prefer? Did you want to be the heel in that situation, or you want the praise?
No, I wanted to be the heel. Being a heel is so much easier and so much fun and rewarding, and it's so much easier for me to be a heel.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make people like you. It's like,
especially if you're not likable. You know what I mean? Like maybe I am.
But even in the world of wrestling, like likable, good-hearted, positive people, especially in the modern era, and starting with the Attitude Era moving this way, became bad guys by default because they were too clean cut, too good.
Heel. The white meat babyface became the heel, and Stone Cold became the babyface. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was, and I think that was, like I said, bigger than wrestling. I think it was a societal changes. And look, who wouldn't love to kick their boss in the scruples and then stun them and, you know what I mean, shoot them birds and drink beer.
Yeah, man.
Look at Ron Simmons.
Look at him in the white tank, just looking thick.
He is a man.
Looking thick.
Just big. So look, that was awesome. I love watching stuff back like that because I don't remember stuff, you know what I mean? And I also don't know if it was any good. And sometimes when I watch that stuff back, I go like, oh, well, that was good. Like we did good on that, you know? And so it does make me feel good and a little nostalgic, you know?
So we move on to SummerSlam 98 from MSG, and to pretty much signal an end to the DX and Nation feud, Hunter defeated Rock in a classic ladder match to win the Intercontinental title. But Triple H was injured pretty soon after and had to vacate the title. Did you feel that hurt the momentum, or was that then an easy transition to fix and get out of and move forward from?
Well, look, it's never an easy transition, especially when you have the guy win the title and like, okay, now we've kind of christened this new guy that we're gonna utilize in a very serious way, and now he's off the shelf, you know, he's on the shelf. And so look, it's never easy, but it is it's part of the nature of the beast, right? I gotta creatively think of something else to do, and so that's what they did. They vacated the title, and I don't remember exactly what they ended up doing with it, but I think of course it hurts momentum when DX is rolling and then Hunter beats The Rock as the kind of finale, and then he gets injured. Of course that it's a kick in the nads, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's part of the nature of the beast, man.
All right, so you're just making moves and showing up everywhere. You're in the game now. All right. The next week on Raw, was the big street fight we watched a couple of weeks back, and the feedback to our first watch along was really good, don't you think?
Yeah, it was great. And look, we talk about this off the air a lot, Ryan, you and I, is like, I when I'm driving, I like to listen to my podcasts, so I don't watch them. So the watch along was a strange concept to me.
Right.
But we got great feedback from it. So I was really impressed.
I think people just like to hear your perspective when it comes down to listening and watching a classic episode. It's not something you would think about.
Yeah. And it's actually very cool. For me to think about that, like I would like to watch somebody who was, you know what I mean? I'd like to watch Billy do that, or Hunter, or X-Pac. You know what I mean? So I get the allure. I just didn't realize it. I'm smart enough to know I'm not smart enough. Feedback was awesome. Let's do another one.
There we go.
Let's get a sponsor on the next one.
Oh, that's not bad. Not bad.
What do you say?
Just say what comes to mind, be it story, fun fact, weird anecdote, or whatever. The Rock, leader of the nation.
Oh, man. Look, we've talked about my feelings towards him at this time. He had everything that I had, plus he was really good looking and in great shape. And so I was jealous of him. I don't have any stories.
Did you always find him to be a hard worker?
Yes, 100%. Like, and especially when I look back and I go like, it was just me. It was just me being jealous. It was me being having an ego and having that ego hurt by him because he looked better than me, and he could do everything I could do. He could cut a good promo. He could work. So I don't know. I regret that that's how our relationship was. You know what I mean? I do regret that. I have looked him in the eye and stood and shook his hand and apologized and cleaned up my side of the street as far as that goes. And so I feel like I'm in a good place with him now, but I wish I was in a better place with him back then, and it's all on me.
So tell me what you think of his movies.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I love his movies.
Absolutely.
I watched Jumanji or whatever like yesterday when I got back home. That was on, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good movie. Like,
I always like the
Hart.
Tooth Fairy.
I like that. Look, I love Central Intelligence. I really love the Runaway. I think it was, or something like that with
yes,
with Stifler.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever that kid's name. Yeah, like look, he's all the Hobbs and Shaw and the Fast and Furious franchise. Like,
I haven't seen those, man. To be honest. I've missed on the Fast and Furious. I'll get back to wrestling.
Well, you have to take like 7 days to watch them all because there's 111 of them. But who was the next on
you brought up the professional jealousy towards The Rock at that point back then. Do you think this feud helped make Rock into the megastar he ended up being, or did you know he was gonna? You knew he was gonna be a star. Did you know he was gonna be as big? I mean, the biggest movie star in the world.
No, of course not. I mean, you can't even fathom that.
No.
And I don't think maybe he did. Maybe he had a vision board and he did the whole deal and he saw that. I did not see that in him. You could see from that. Well, look, with me too, with our promos that had just aired. I flubbed something. You could see him not feeling great about it. We were growing. And so he just continued to grow. And I think I digressed because of drug addiction and alcoholism. I think I went in a different direction. Not saying that I would be what he was without that. I'm just saying he continued to grow and get better and hone his craft. And look where he's at today.